from Bluefin. I'm brand manager. I do all kinds of crazy stuff, mainly like this, and they pay me for it, which is amazing. And today I'm here with four really awesome cosplayers who have come on to share their love of cosplay. So starting with you, Jordan, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and let people know who you are.
Hi, I'm Jordan, aka the girl with a great smile. Previous name was January Cosplay, and showing off my new this side, showing off my new project.
Awesome.
Okay. My name is Alicia, Alicia Marie Body, and I'm a costume maker and cosplayer, and I just like talking about cosplay and going to conventions and just having fun with it. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And Brianna? On the same train.
Hi, I'm Ultimate Cosplay. My name is Brianna, but I go by Ultimate Cosplay. I'm originally from Chicago, but I've been living in LA for over 10 years now, and fell in love with cosplay. And luckily, I have an amazing roommate who's a really talented cosplayer. And yeah, obviously, we see us in our casual cosplay right now. Goku.
Yeah, I am Ashley, also known as Cosplay and Beer. Yeah, I've been doing cosplay for a while and just kind of fell in love with it and excited to kind of meet everybody in the cosplay scene and always make new friends. So
that's the best part. That's how we met.
It's really how
Awesome. All right. Well, to get started, I had a few questions for you guys that I think people who are getting into cosplay who are interested in it might want to know. So, first things first, and just so you know, just so we don't get it confused, the order for answering will be Jordan, Alicia, Brianna, Ashley. That way, no confusion. Okay. All right. So, question one: what drew you to cosplay?
Oh, that's me. Yes. So, well, I've always been into art, and I also took some fashion design. But really, it's Halloween. Halloween. I didn't know that it was called cosplay, to be specific. But I was working in the club scene in West Hollywood, and every week we had a different theme. And then my niece and my friend told me, that's called cosplay. I go, oh, duh. So they told me more about it, and I learned on watching tutorials how to build stuff. So it really was just about the art of it.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Alicia.
What got me into cosplay? God, it feels like it's just been forever. Like Jordan, I've always been like artistic. I used to make all my friends' costumes, make all my family members' costumes for Halloween. But what really got me into cosplay, like seriously, not just on a Halloween level, was superheroes. Like I literally wanted to be one when I was younger.
Okay.
So I was like, I started like, that's how I got into fitness stuff, because I wanted to look like and sort of live like a superhero. But I started taking it more seriously when I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2010, and I decided to finally like blow it out at Storm. And I'm not talking like closet cosplay level. I was like, I'm gonna blow it out. And the response was so positive, and I had so much fun doing it that I'm still doing it like years later.
Awesome. Okay.
And then for me, it kind of started where I was already kind of into nerdy things. I loved comic books and gaming, and got into anime. But I was really introverted. What kind of got me out of my shell was performing arts. So I studied acting and dance in Chicago. And but I always used to see on the news when San Diego Comic-Con came around and New York Comic-Con. I was like, I want to be where the people are. Like one day I want to be like them, and I want to be dressed up in these amazing elaborate costumes. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. That's like straight up goals. And it wasn't until I moved out to California and I got up enough courage to just go to my first con, which was Anime Expo in 2014. And it was so much fun. I didn't know anyone, but I ended up making friends, and I've been hooked on cosplay ever since. So it's been a fun journey.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, very similar to the Halloween stories where my family was didn't have a lot of money growing up, so they were like, if you want to dress up for Halloween, you're making your own stuff. So it was recycling everything and just building everything up from there. But really got into cosplay very similar. Like people were like, oh, well, you make your own stuff, like that's cosplay, and I was like, what's that? And then Google search later, and lots of money that I've thrown down on so much craft film. We are.
Awesome, guys. Well, one thing everyone wants to know is, what was your very first cosplay?
Oh, the very first official cosplay that I made is Ryuko from Kill la Kill. It was very ambitious because my body is not like that, but it was for compound frames. And what really got me into making that one is the giant scissor blade. It was the first prop that I was going to make, and I looked at the tutorials, and I was like, I think I can do this in a different way, and it failed. So that's what tutorials are for. Follow the tutorials. So I had to remake it twice, but that was my first one, and it was ambitious. I don't have pictures of it. Don't ask me.
Okay, no problem. All right, Alicia.
Okay, my first cosplay when I was younger was Disney's Pocahontas, and I won a cosplay contest with it, so that one always is kind of close to my heart. But my first sort of adult cosplay was Storm. And then it just led into everything else. And I credit Brianna, her fault. Into anime 3 years ago, and she's like, you have to. So I started watching more, and then I fell into it, and now this is where I am now.
You're one of us now.
One of us. My first one actually was Shigure Kasaka from Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I do.
I absolutely love that anime, and Shigure was so fierce and so powerful. She was the weapons master, and I was like, she is the coolest girl ever. I gotta cosplay her. Mind you, I literally bought stuff off Amazon and and bought some cute sandals, and we made it work. But it's one of those things where you start out. That's how everyone starts out, where it's closet cosplay, or they're putting stuff together for shopping, and then it becomes a very expensive endeavor when you just dive down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. The first one that I took to a convention was a gender bent version of Green Hornet. My husband and I do Kato and Green Hornet. So that was San Diego Comic-Con several years ago, 7 years ago, I think. Yeah, but my first cosplay that I would say that I've used as a cosplay was the silver wetsuit version of Laura Croft. I had an extra bodysuit that I had used for a dance show way back in middle school, and I was like, oh, I could repurpose this. So that was my first kind of building into cosplay type thing. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So we gone down the road of your beginnings, but what is your best, most top tier cosplay ever?
So the best. What? Say it again. Sorry.
What is your best cosplay?
So my favorite last year is I made a monster armor called Taroth armor with a giant gold blade with a scale. So basically all the leftover EVA foam, I cut them into tiny scales because I didn't want to throw it away. And so that's one. But the other one is Gundam Wing that was used in some of the promo stuff. Just addicted to mecha and robots and all that.
Nice. Is that one behind you done, or?
So this one is Strike Freedom because I wasn't happy with the Gundam Wing, and I wanted to challenge myself with how do I pack all of this in one suitcase.
Right.
I'm able to. I'll post the video later.
Nice. Well, it looks really awesome. Hopefully that the dragoons actually come off the wings and can fly around. That would be really great.
It's a dream.
All right.
It's tough, but most people know my Mortal Kombat cosplays. So for me, I think my best cosplays will always be Mortal Kombat cosplays. I'd have to say my Shao Kahn from last year because I used like methods that I've never like tried or used before in other cosplays. So I'm really proud of it because I was able to use technology and the eyes light up, and I just kind of went all out for it because I was really excited about MK11 launching. So I'm gonna have to say, yeah, my Mortal Kombat series of cosplays are always gonna be a little bit above the board, but I did also challenge myself with my Borderlands cosplays because of shading. That was horrific. But when I finally because you just as cosplayers, you sort of like play with makeup all the time to like enhance the look. So I practiced cell shading for a really long time before I finally got it. When I finally got it, I was like, oh, I just have to close one eye when I do everything. And then I exactly did. So when you paint the clothes and you paint your face, I usually have one eye closed sort of, and I'm like, while I'm painting and it comes out okay. And it has that weird sort of 2D effect I'm looking for. So yeah, the more you do, the more you learn.
Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And kind of keeping on that theme, talking about makeup, one of my favorites.
Oh, hey, on the screen.
Yeah. So good.
Good job, background guy.
It was scary looking in person, though. Whoa, in person it was like a horror film. But when you take a picture of
It looks great.
Still stunning. Definitely, like it's hard to say. It's definitely a tough question, like Alicia said, to say best cosplay. But one of my ones that's close to my heart has to do with a lot of makeup. Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember when I first did it, it took me about 5 hours. So I got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was just, at the time I didn't know like a lot of methods. So I literally used a blender. Like, girls know about those little like makeup blenders. So I was just going at it for hours. I figured out faster methods, but yeah, doing Gamora, I connected with a lot of Marvel fans that way, and also too got a lot of amazing opportunities. I got to meet Stan Lee at San Diego Comic-Con, go on stage with him with a whole group. Like our group was Guardians of the Galaxy and everything. It was so awesome, and then getting a chance to go to the premieres for Endgame and Infinity Wars. And meetings always held down in person, and she touched my face. And
I remember seeing that on your feed, and I remember being super salty.
On Instagram, it's on my Facebook, but she freaked out over me, and I was freaking out over her. It was something I'll never forget. So that goes down as like one that's close to my heart always.
That's nice.
Yeah. I think my best cosplay, I'll say there's two. One is absolutely my Astrid Hopperson from How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Yes.
That one was lots of work, lots of individual. I used a heat knife to carve all the individual scales, and just a lot of foam and late nights and all of that. My other one is that I really love is my Fear Woman design. So it's a matchup of Wonder Woman and just fear. So I've got like a hop instead of the Wonder Woman symbol. My lasso of truth is like a hop sign. My shield has a stein on it. Yeah. And it's so funny because it's kind of subtle if you're not looking at it. So I get a lot of kids that come up and are like, and I'm like, hide my shield with the knife behind my back, and then the parents are like, hey. So that's probably one of my favorite ones because it was like a design that I did like just randomly, and I was like, I like this idea. So, but Astrid was probably my top one right now.
And she could sit in it. That's a challenge in itself for armor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's my favorite woman one.
Solid.
Well, Debbie, that definitely helps me lead to the next question. How do you pick like what you do? Like, how does this just come to you, or do you have like a plan, or how?
So, well, I know Monster Hunter happened because I saw an artwork of called Taroth, but in human form, and I thought it was just the sexiest thing. But because I can't do that, I don't have that anime body. I thought I'll make the armor, but because it's Anime Expo and it was gonna be like 100 something degrees, it had to be, yes, I couldn't do the full cover up. Yes. So the challenge is the other thing that really attracts me to the project, other than the art of it. Other artists' artwork inspires me, and then how do I make it my own is the other part of the fun. So that's with that one.
Nice. Okay.
I'm actually the same. I'm always inspired by fan art of characters. Like if there's a game I'm sort of into, or an anime I'm into, or anything that's animated, and I see some character art online that I think is really cool. Then, whoa, yeah, girl.
There.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh man, you guys are so talented.
It's based on a fan art too.
That's right. That
Yeah.
everything.
Nice.
Yeah, it's usually fan art, or there's just a character I have to be. Like if I start playing something and I just fall in love with the character, I'm like, oh, I have to figure out how to make this. Like most recently, I've been playing K11, which I'm trash at, but whatever. Absolutely loved Sindel, and I liked her before with her walkovers and screaming, but like after playing her through the story mode and K11, I'm like, okay, I love her, so I have to be her, and that's what happens. I just have this like urge, I have to be, or I just like a character like in My Hero Academia, Maruko.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, personality-wise, she's sort of not my personality. However, she just fits me so well. Everyone's like, you have to do her. So I was like, she's getting done then. And there's like the design, I want to attempt the design sometimes. That's something that's really intricate and I want to attempt it. And so I'll do it. It's just, I'm definitely compulsive as a costumer. Like I'm always thinking something like, the reason why this is up is because it's covering the disaster that is half naked mannequins, everything, head pieces, there's stuff everywhere. So anything inspiring ends up on me somehow. I like being a walking piece of art.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Hey.
I remember that one.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Nice.
Creepy. Cool.
Wow.
And Brianna, is it the same for you?
Well, for me, like kind of going on the end of what Alicia was saying, it's really like the connection you have to a character or the love for a character. So like recently I did Valletta from Code Geass, and I fell in love with the show, and Valletta was just waifu. Like I was just like, she's so, she kind of goes through this journey also through the series where she's not really likable at first, but it's like she's trying to stay loyal to her countrymen, and she kind of goes through this whole thing where it's like, well, it becomes more complicated, and I like when people kind of go through that redemption arc, and like there's more to a character, and you see different characteristics that you may connect to. So it's, for me, I have to feel like a connection to a character. So not always like, for me, it doesn't have to be a character that I look like. That never like is a restriction for me. It's really about whether or not I really feel passionate about the series and I love the character. And I have a long list. We all know we, as cosplayers, have this long list of like, okay, well, I'm going to eventually do this. 2 million costumes eventually. But that's what makes it fun is that, because of the love and passion you have for these fandoms, you want to just keep cosplaying, and that's it's fun. It's fun to do. So yeah, it's the connection and the love for the character, I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very along the same lines. It's like if I have a connection with the character, there are some times where I see like an amazing piece of artwork and I'm like, oh man, that would be so much fun to build. A lot of some of my designs that I've done, I did a pirate version, Captain Marvel Steampunk. It was based off of a design by No Flutter, and she has some amazing artwork of that stuff that I love. And I'm like, oh, that's on my list. Now that's on my list. But I feel like it's also like I love Skyrim, so there's been so many that I want to play through there. And yeah, it's just characters that I love and characters that I feel connected to. And so many times I'll just start a cosplay and then not finish it.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we took that to Renaissance.
Yeah, awesome.
The original design has like some goggles and like her hair pulled back, but I added the pirate hat since we were doing a pirate day for a Ren Fair. So made it a little bit just to go on those lines.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. So we have a couple more fun questions. But before we get to that, I want to remind people out there watching, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if we have any time, we'll pop them up and hopefully you'll get your answers wherever down is.
Yeah.
So and we do have a contest, which we'll talk about a little later after the fun questions. But these are very, very important questions that I have to ask you guys. So I'll start with the easier one. What is your favorite anime?
Ah!
And remember, there can be only one.
No,
Only one?
Only one. There can be only one.
Okay. Only because my favorite anime now, only because I was unhappy with Game of Thrones, is Attack on Titan. How Attack on Titan's last season ended for me was the most satisfying. And for those who haven't seen it yet, what happened was, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, I thought it was the story. How the story changed from what I originally thought it was gonna go into, and also compared to the live action movie of Attack on Titan, was actually funny in a bad way.
Yeah,
but it was so entertaining. It doesn't necessarily reflect my cosplay work, but I thought it was great. Emotionally exhausting also.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Alicia?
This is like asking what my favorite child is.
Yes, exactly. Everyone has a favorite.
Oh gosh, I tend to like the darker stuff. Brianna knows this.
Yes.
I mean, except for MHA, which is just so heartwarming. I mean, you're a psycho if you don't like that anime. So, my favorite, I'm gonna have to say the one that I always go back to, even though I love Tokyo Ghoul. I like Psychopaths. I love Death Note because I love L, and I think Light is a piece of trash. I have been really intrigued by the Shinigami, and when I've seen people cosplay Shinigami, it is like amazing. Have you ever seen anyone cosplay Shinigami?
It's terrifying.
Like crazy. Like they usually go all out, and then they have the light with the book, and they usually go all out with it. So I'm gonna have to say Death Note because that was life for me, and I was devastated when he died.
It's okay. He just lost the chess match. That's all it is.
How could you bring this? What? So yeah, they played.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. You really stuck it to us with that one. I gotta go back to. I mean, okay, we're talking about cell phone covers. I gotta say, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works for me. Renta and Archer are like my heart. Like I love them to death. And you know, I've cosplayed different versions of Rin. Tasaka. So I'm sure that people who know me know that how much I love the series, and specifically, I mean, I love the Fate series in general. But I mean, I've seen them all, all the offshoots. Unlimited Blade Works just always has a special place in my heart because the focus is really like Ren and Emiya Archer. So yeah, so I definitely would say Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works.
Okay. It's a part in the shipping wars then.
Oh yeah. All the wars.
So, all right, Ashley.
For me, mine is Dragon Ball Z. It was one of my things that I saw when I was in like middle school, and it started getting me into martial arts. And I bought like all of the weight vests. I had ankle weights. I would wear it to school. I'd be like, I'm training to be a Saiyan, and I would just do all of my martial arts in all of my weight vests, and then for a tournament, take it off. And you're like, I'm super fast. It was what I did as a kid. I still do it now when I run, but that's always been one of my favorites. That and like I love Cowboy Bebop, but Dragon Ball Z has just always been close to my heart. So it got me into it.
She got me into it. So I had never seen this.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get to our contest, the last question, and like I told you guys before we went live, there is a right and wrong answer, and I will kick you off if you answer wrong.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, sub or dub?
Okay. So for the original feel of the show, I would say sub. Because there's just something when it's translated into English that, and especially the voices that I just can't get into, and some of them. But when I don't have my eyeglasses on, it has to be dub because I can't see.
Okay, I will accept that. I will accept that.
So sub.
All right. I watch all of my anime while I'm at the gym doing cardio. So no matter what. And then also because my hearing, I'm always going to be sub. But I'm sub for everything because I have to be doing other things and I have ADHD and everything else. So I need to see. I'm like, wait, what did he say? Oh, it's right there on the screen. I'm a sub girl.
Okay.
Good. Correct answer.
Since the beginning, like when I started watching anime, it's always been sub for me. It's just also too like I watch a lot of Taiwanese and Korean dramas, and everything's sub, so it comes naturally. It's just something that watching foreign films and shows, it just feels most natural to kind of like read the subtitles, and also too sometimes I agree with what Jordan said as far as the translation sometimes is not always correct. So that's another reason, but because I am friends with a lot of amazing dub actors, I will say certain shows, they're excellent. They are, so I don't judge anyone who watches dubs because a lot of my talented friends are actors.
Okay, I'll accept that because there's like a small group of like 3 or 4, maybe now 5 dubs that are, I think, are just as good, if not sometimes better. Than some of the other ones.
One of the shows that I will say watching it dubbed was better for me than the sub, which I know a lot of people, I don't know if that's going to create an argument, but I will say it's something about I felt like the dubbing for that was phenomenal. And I got into the show because I rewatched it dubbed. I was not originally like a super fan, and then I became a fan when I watched it. And that was like the one exception. I swear, it was like really interesting how I don't know. It's something about that show dub. I love it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a subtitle person too. The one thing though I will say with dub is, especially with Dragon Ball Z in particular, it's very entertaining / also annoying to watch, but very entertaining just to see the different translations, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, if you're going for the feel of the show, definitely subtitles, but dub is very entertaining in its own right.
Right. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. You all got it mostly correct, so I will not kick any of you. So good job. But so I do want to go into our contest real quick. If you go to, let's see, here we go. If you go to our made page on bluefinbrands.com/made, we do have a link that you can click where you can find about our cosplay at home contest. And so what this is we know a lot of people had planned to do cosplays, during the convention season, which is not going to happen because the world has ended. And so we wanted to give a little piece of that fun to people who were at home. So we have 3 tiers for this contest, which will allow for everyone to have some fun. So we have the stuck at home category, which is basically you're stuck at home and you have a trash bag, some toilet paper, and a dream. And you're going to put those together and you're going to do the best you possibly can and make a cosplay.
Yeah, that's one thing for recording.
So then we have the casual tier. This is like, you like just started cosplay, maybe you order cosplays offline, you maybe do a little modification here and there. That's your category to shine.
Mm-hmm.
But then of course we have the God tier, the professional tier, where you guys belong, people who do everything themselves and who make giant robots behind them and all kinds of madness and make their own weapons and everything. So that category is for them. That way it gives the other 2 categories a chance to breathe. There's just a little bit. So you guys please, go onto the site, sign up, take a few pictures to upload. And then on our panel on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to have all of these wonderful cosplayers plus Baby Bit Me. They'll be coming back on, and we're going to judge you as human beings, and we're going to see who deserves to get a prize. It should be fun. Just because cosplay is about fun, guys, and we want to give a piece of that to everybody, even though we can't go outside.
So that was my Gundam from LA Comic Con last year, and when Staples Center was still open, I can't believe that I stayed in that costume until dark. Normally it's like I last for just a couple of hours and then I'm done, but this one I had to.
Yeah, that was back in the before time when outside was still a thing.
When I was young.
So awesome, guys. Well, let's see. First of all, I'm gonna give a shout out to the background guy, Justin. You see him in some of our other live stream. He did a great job helping us out with getting photos and everything. So you guys can't see him, but he can feel your appreciation. So let's see. Do we have any questions from the chat, Mr. Background guy? Bam, there we go. How troublesome is it to bring larger pieces for your cosplay through airports, like weapons, for example?
Okay, so when I first started cosplaying officially, it was just Comic-Con Palm Springs, so everything could fit in the trunk of my car. But because I went to Hornet last year where I met Brianna, it was a challenge. Yes, my Pokemon, my Pikachu Monster Hunter sword, my goal was to make it fit in a suitcase, and I did. It just divides into smaller pieces, and this one, the same thing. Each wing folds into 24 inches, so everything can stack into a large suitcase, and then I'll just have to carry on everything else. But Yeah, and also a note that I saw is put a note on your suitcase that it's for cosplay, and to please be careful when TSA goes through it. And I was told that if there's anything metal or anything hollow, they will most likely go through it. So if it's flat, they will most likely leave it alone.
All right, that's smart. I could not imagine getting to my destination, opening my bag, and seeing that TSA broke something, because everybody would be getting these hands.
Oh my god!
But this costume was actually made by Evil Ted. And I'm sure all of you who work with know who that is.
Wow.
Yes, he's like everybody, but he's like my cosplay costume like mentor. Like I was 100% thermoplastic and Warbler until I met Ted, and he was like, "You've got to give foam a try." And I was like, "But it's unpredictable and it's weird and it doesn't react to heat well." Now I exclusively use foam for all armor pieces, no matter what. But that cosplay was we met each other like 3 or 4 years ago, and we were at a convention, and I was talking about Matika Noguchi, and he was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Female Predator. She's a human and she's a badass." And I showed him a picture, and he's like, "Can I make that for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." Yeah, like hours and hours. Like that costume is basically where we all sort of aspire to be one day. His work is like he's like they call him the Bob Ross of foam craft.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's pretty intense. So. But yeah, so that costume, I actually had to travel. I bought a specific like trunk for it, and it's all hard around. It locks up because, like you were saying, I've heard so many horror stories, and it's just heartbreaking if you work so hard in a costume and you get to the convention, open it, everything's warped or bent or broken, and that always, so for some reason, that usually happens unless you travel with like either a hard case that you specifically buy for your work. Smaller pieces, like Jordan was saying, you just have to deal with the looks and bring it on the plane. Like I've actually gone on the plane with a huge cosplay wig on a foam head, like,
Yeah.
Right? You just because you don't want to risk it. And nowadays, a lot of people are 3D printing their weapons so they can take them apart and then put them back together. So they actually create them in sections rather than having to walk up to the desk and saying, "I have to check something." And the teller is like, "What do you need to check?" And you're like, "A 4-foot sword."
Please don't call the cops.
Right. Because it's also too with sword. Like I work with Ripper Blades, and they sponsored some of my blades that I have. Like I have one for Valkyrie that I've done a cosplay for, and then also two for Psylocke. And the hilt comes away from the blade itself. So then that way I can keep it bubble wrapped and kind of keep it safe when I am traveling with it. And I've traveled with the blades and they've been fine. I went to New York Comic Con with it, and I was really, really nervous. I was so scared, but that's a good thing is when you can kind of like at least like break it down into pieces and then kind of wrap it up and whatever to keep it nice and cushioned, because things happen. Yeah. I took my blade to SpotCon. I used a different blade than the one that was in the photograph, but yeah, it was interesting because that was my first time. I tested out at SpotCon to see if it would survive the trip, and it survived the journey. When I went to New York Comic Con, I was able to bring the blade with me as well, and that was really cool. So I was really happy about that.
Nice. And actually, I know that I think it's the How to Train Your Dragon cosplay with that giant axe. Like, how do you take an axe?
I haven't had to travel with that really, but it does not come apart. So
yeah.
How did you do it?
it's like 2 or 3 inch foam for the top of it, and then it's a PVC pipe down the middle wrapped with foam so that I could carve it to make it look more wooden. But yeah, that doesn't come apart. I wasn't making it for like a more of a traveling thing, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make this thing. Yeah. That would definitely, I would have to like rethink it. Although I probably could go into the base of it and more like, like if I cut off the base and then screwed it, I think I could probably make that work. But yeah, that one it fits in my Jeep. So
hey, but hey, while you're traveling, if you carry a giant axe, there's not gonna be any trouble anywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone will be very well behaved.
So people are like, "Oh, can I lift it up?" And they're like, "Oh, this is really light." So I'm like, "Yeah." So it'd probably be one of those things that I'd have to like hold it on a plate or something. Just be like, "Hey guys."
You never just know.
No.
Awesome. All right. So our next question: do you ever provide shopping lists and links for items in your costumes that aren't custom made?
I've only started sharing like how I made stuff and where stuff are coming from just a couple of months ago. So I haven't really done that, but I'd love to hear from the rest of you. I haven't.
I didn't even know. I was like, oh, I mean, I think we just often help each other out. Like, so we'll share links. Like, if we're trying to work on, like, we were planning a group cosplay, and so unfortunately, due to the current situation, we had to push it, for a later date.
Later,
but we do share things. Like, luckily, especially when you have friends, they share things with each other. Like, hey, this is where I found these good quality wigs. You can check this out. But I think that with cosplayers in general, we're all really open. Like, if anyone ever wants to ask us, like, where did you get that? Or like, did you buy it? Did you make it? Or any of those types of questions, we're always open. Like, I think we're pretty much open books, all of us. So
I think part of this might be, because I know some cosplayers for like fans of theirs, they'll post like wish lists.
Oh.
So this is like something on Amazon where it's like their Amazon wish list, and it's like people are like, you want to support me? This is a piece that I would need. Like, that's what I'm getting from this question.
Okay, that's fine.
I have not done that. I'm super particular in the stuff that I buy anyway, so I most of the time spend hours looking for the right thing, and then by the time I find it, I'm just like, purchase. And then and I'm like, oh, now I have a month's worth of stuff coming from Amazon.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any other Mr. Background guy?
What'd you say? I don't know who, where. One thing I wanted to add, a lot of costuming and costume pieces and materials, especially if you're getting into it, can become very, very, very expensive, especially if you're like most cosplayers and you overdo it and you make 5 costumes a month. So a lot back in the year, now people make like 1 every 2 weeks. So it's, a lot of as a cosplayer, like, never feel ashamed of recycling things. If you were like looking on eBay or you were looking on Amazon and you see a piece or something at a tag sale, I don't care, that looks like that, that belt looks almost like the belt on this, that, or whatever. It looks like, Midnight's belt from My Hero Academia. There is nothing wrong with using that belt and revamping it and Frankensteining the hell out of it so that it looks like
We're shopping too.
Environment, it's upcycling. Forward thinking, you know what I mean? So.
Okay. Also, we have another question. Have you ever geeked out over someone else's cosplay at a convention and you just had to get a photo with them?
Yes. So, yes. The first time I met Alicia, I was in a Scorpion cosplay, and you were in Sonia, I believe. And I was with my best friend Nami, and she was in Jade, and we just had an improv Mortal Kombat thing on the convention floor, swinging the weapons. And that was so much fun. So, and then you did katana, and I was looking at my fabric katana picture, and I'm like, wah, wah. You're amazing. Yeah. So that one, the katana one, really, I was like, Why do I even try?
It is Mortal Kombat moments at conventions are always really popular. It's like people like go crazy over it, especially when she's saying like got into position. Everybody's like, oh, you know, like what are they gonna do? Everyone's like,
yeah, and then you're just stopped for an hour.
Nice. Oh, we got a photo.
Oh,
Wow.
Yes.
That's classic Sonya.
Yes.
I will always love this woman. You understand, growing up, like there weren't that most female characters were, you know, they were Princess Peach. They were rescued by like, you know, a male character. So, you know, when I remember I saw Sonya, like she was like a character you could play and she was kicking butt too, like the boys.
Right. She has killed many people.
Fatalities.
I love Katana.
Yes.
Wow.
That costume actually took forever, and I will say I love it. But like you know, you guys know this. You make costumes. There comes a point in the actual construction when you want to pick the costume up, take it out to the street, and back over it with your car. Like, I'm done with this. And then we end up being feature creepers. So we're not ever really done unless there's like a point you have to be done. Otherwise, we'll work on it forever. That's so it's. I mean, I like the way it came out, but of course, by the end, you're like.
Yeah, it's really funny because to hear you guys talk about how you guys do your cosplay and everything, it's very reminiscent of how people who build Gunpla and customize Gunpla talk. Like we have a lot in common. Like, you know, when we're doing a custom, it's like, let me add a backpack and some missile launchers and a machine gun. And now I want to transform. I want to have 4 legs. I get that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
So, you know, Brianna, Ashley, have you guys ever had that kind of a geek out moment over someone else's cosplay?
Yeah, I think I've had moments with all 3 of these ladies. So it's funny because I remember with Jordan, it was at Hornet. I saw her she was and I saw her Pikachu, armored Pikachu, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So we had photos together. And I met her through the fitness world. But it was funny because I went at like one of the other conventions. It was like my second convention. I saw her as Storm. I think I was Gamora. She was dressed as Storm. And I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. Hey, what's up? Like, and so we took a photo together. We actually met. We were part of the same group, but she looked amazing. I was actually geeking out over her Royal Princess Academy bell because she had a backpack that was a giant book. And I thought that was so creative. I was like, dude. Like all about the accessories. She had like little roses in certain places, and I loved it. I thought it was genius. I was like, so it's like, yeah, I feel like most of the time we geek out over each other all the time.
Especially with like craft work, you're super excited about.
Yeah,
I did have one though where it wasn't necessarily just over someone else's cosplay. It was I think it was probably at WonderCon, but it was me, my husband, and our friend LaRoyal. My husband and I were dressed as Misty and Ash, and LaRoyal was dressed as Spider-Man. And we ran into another group that was Misty and Ash and Spider-Man. And it was just like...
Nice.
Right? I love that too.
So that was one moment where it was just like...
Wait a minute. That's cool. Wait, so you know Leroy too?
Oh yeah.
It's a small world. This is crazy.
We love, it's a big community, but I feel like we all are connected. It's like 6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees of separation.
Literally.
Yeah.
Beyond just social distancing. But you know,
6 degrees, not 6 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. We are a family apart.
And we all admire each other and we all inspire one another. So that's the beauty of the community too. And that's why I think all of us have stayed a part of this community for as long as we have because of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I hope, you know, people at home, hey, join the Cosplay at Home contest, you know, become a part of this cosplay family. It'll be really fun. Before we go though, I want to give you guys a chance, you know, go ahead, plug away. whatever y'all doing right now.
What did I miss?
No, go ahead. Put your links out there. Anything.
So I'm focusing on my Instagram, the girl with a great smile. My dentist. And I'm going to be finishing this Strike Freedom, and it is based off of a Gunpla guy. Oh, there you go. Perfect Grade Pete did a master grade Strike Freedom with a custom paint job, orange, grays, yellow, and I thought it was so unique. So this is the one. This is the one that I'm going to be finishing for whatever con comes up. Probably I don't know, maybe Hornet. We'll see. Florida is always nice. So yeah, the girl with great smile.
Awesome.
All right. I'm Alicia Marie Body across all platforms. And I've actually, this whole shutdown and coronavirus, someone said something like way at the beginning, like, try to come out of all of this with something new, whether it be a new skill or something. Someone said something like that once. I read a tweet and I was like, huh. And I've always wanted to learn Dungeons and Dragons. So that's what I've just sort of spent this entire, that's what I'm dressed for now. I'm getting ready to do a game for charity in a few hours. But D&D I've really gotten into, and like able to hang out and Zoom and tell stories. And so it's been really fun. But as far as costumes, I'm working on commissions behind here. And building something new, if conventions end up actually getting put to December and actually end up happening, then definitely, because I totally miss it. Brianna was saying, and Vern was saying, when we're at conventions and we bump into each other and we see what each other did, and we're like, oh my God. And it's so much positive and fun. I really miss it. So, things will come back, we're ready to come back, but when they come back, I'll be ready.
Nice. And Brianna?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Utahime Cosplay, Utahime Cosplay. And then I go by Brianna DeCoster, my legal name. I tried to change it. It doesn't let me change it to Utahime. But you can find me there. I've been also too on Twitch, so you can find me on Twitch at Utahime Cosplay. Me and Cosplay and Beer will sometimes do duo streams, like where we're streaming like Gears of War, Dead Space together, but we also do our solo streams as well. So, which is a newer endeavor for us. Like, it's brand new. We're noobs, but we're having fun, like gaming. And I missed gaming for a while, so that's been fun. And also to Cosplay and Beer, to credit her, she's been leading us through our first Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So we've been doing it. The ropes. We could kind of do it like. Right away, she got picked up by.
Yeah, she threw her. What's the deep end? Oh, it's over there. Okay, let me jump.
Yeah. But I'm learning because it was something that we had more time to work on together. So that's been fun as well.
Awesome. All right, and Ashley.
I am Cosplay and Beer on Instagram and Twitch. Those are my two main ones that I do. With the coronavirus, and then I just started going back to work, so I haven't been working on anything currently. I also haven't had a con where I could procrastinate enough to work on a cosplay. So, once that comes up, then I'll finish it 2 days before, like normal.
Yeah.
So I've probably got like 5 cosplays that are in like separate boxes that are like to be completed. But right now I've just been making a lot of masks for friends and family and people that I work with because of what's happening at the moment. So
and being safe.
Yeah. But that's between my Instagram and my Twitch is what we're doing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming on. We really appreciate it. And they will be back on Sunday at 3 p.m. for the judging of all of you people who enter this contest. Don't worry, we won't be super harsh, but we will crush your dreams. So, but until then, guys, it was very fun hanging out with you. And
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great to see everyone.